What's up, Saints? I'm Damian Hansel.
And I'm Ian Nathaniel Letourneau.
And
this is SFHS Today!
In national news, Kamala Harris was temporarily granted the powers of the presidential office while President Joe Biden was under anesthesia for a colonoscopy for 85 minutes. Harris briefly stepped into this role, according to CNN.
In school news, winter activities are just beginning.
Knowledge Bowl is still looking for a few more participants. Reporter Milo Toole got some more information.
Knowledge Bowl. So what Knowledge Bowl is we pretty much have teams of, we have 3 teams typically of 5, and what we do is we all sit down and a judge reads a question to everybody, and the first team who thinks that they have the question there's like a little green strip and they buzz. When they buzz, the judge stops the question and asks the team for an answer. If they get it wrong, the question is just continued. It's just continued. And then, so the team at the end of the round with the most points wins, and that's pretty much the essentials of Knowledge Bowl.
In more activities, we recently had Jacob Renfro and Emily Pipp interview the robotics team about how the robots and competitions work.
I'm Emily Pipp.
And I'm Jacob Renfro.
And this is Robotics.
What do you do in robotics?
So in robotics, we build robots. And so the mechanical team builds the frame and structure of the robot. The electrical team hooks up all the wiring. And then the programming team programs the robot. And then the marketing team gets us out there and gets us sponsors. I'm the head of the programming team, and so that's where I spend most of my time.
How do you come up with the design?
So when we come up with the design, usually after kickoff, which is in January, where we get all the information for our game, we have to figure out what we're going to do. And so we come up with a concept. We usually write it down on whiteboards, and we think about what is the best ways we can score different points in different ways and figure out the best one that'll give us the most points in the easiest way, hopefully.
What day are robotics?
What days are robotics? So right now in off-season, we have meetings spread out throughout November and December. So right now we have one in November 23rd and 30th, and then one in December 4th. In January, though, we meet after kickoff. We meet Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays.
What do you do in the off season?
So in the off season, we have a lot of training events for new people, and we also have it's also where we practice new skills for kind of more experienced members in the season coming up. So we have off-season events. So it's like a copy of our event, but it's with a bunch of other teams, and we're not really competing for awards. It's rather just kind of a training opportunity. And then we also have meetings that we plan, and we teach new skills. It's kind of like a workshop sort of deal. And then once we get actual competition, that's where things really get kicked in to high gear.
What is robotics?
So robotics is through the program called FIRST. FIRST stands for Inspiration and Recognition of Science and Technology. They have Lego League, and they have robotics and tech. And so we work on the robotics part of it. So the students go through and they are basically given a task, and then they build the robot, design it, build it to complete the task.
When can you join robotics?
So registration for robotics is open right now. And we do have some off-season events, and we will have some upcoming meetings. Our first off-season event for Jumpstart, we're going to St. Cloud on the 4th of December. We'll be leaving here about at 7 in the mornings and going to the Jumpstart, which is a good training program to kind of get people interested if they're ready to see what robotics is all about. And then our first actual season event will be January 8th. That's our kickoff for robotics. And then we'll meet every Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday up until our first competition at the first weekend of March.
How is robotics ran?
So robotics is ran by the students. The students basically do all of the building. They do all the basically engineering. They do everything. I am there to help them, support them. I am there to help order things, whatever they need, I will order for them. But really, they build the robot, they program it, they do all the marketing. And so it's really student-based led, and I'm just there to supervise and help them out when they need it.
With Thanksgiving coming up, we had Lauren Perry gobble up some answers on people's favorite Thanksgiving food in this week's RQT.
It's the random question thing, ding.
What is your favorite food to eat on Thanksgiving?
Stuffing. Mashed potatoes and gravy.
My favorite food is candied yams with brown sugar and marshmallows.
My favorite food to eat on Thanksgiving is the cranberries from the can.
My favorite food to eat on Thanksgiving is cheese and mashed potatoes.
My favorite Thanksgiving food would definitely have to be turkey and mashed potatoes.
And mine is probably like pumpkin pie.
I don't have a favorite food because we don't celebrate it in the Netherlands.
My favorite food to eat for Thanksgiving is apple pie.
Mine would probably have to be a stuffing.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is definitely sliced cranberries. My grandma makes some bomb ones.
My grandchildren's favorite thing that I make is Jell-O with fresh berries.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is mashed potatoes.
I like to eat cranberry sauce on Thanksgiving.
I like green bean casserole.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is green bean casserole.
And mine is mac and cheese.
My favorite Thanksgiving food is pumpkin pie.
Mine is turkey.
What's your favorite Thanksgiving food, Ian?
Stuffing. What's yours?
I like the sweet potatoes with the little marshmallows.
Now it's time for Whip of the Week.
I'm Tony Nielsen. This is my 2004 Chevy Silverado. All I've done to it is I put a 6-inch rough country lift, some tow mirrors, catback exhaust, and some 4-inch chips coming out the back. What I'd like to do it in the future is maybe some tint, some new wheels, and maybe some new headlights.
As our school has changed over the past few years, we look to see a new perspective on it. Eric, Brody, and Coop all went to talk with teachers that graduated from St. Francis High School.
I graduated in 1985 from St. Francis High School, and then I went away to college, lived in Minneapolis for a while, and we came back here because I was familiar with the school system, and we had a daughter that would be starting school soon, so we came back really for the schools. I think a lot has changed since I was here as a student. I think it's changed for the better. I think that there's a lot more of a focus on trying to help students be prepared for the world after high school. And I'm excited. I think our kids got a good education here.
So I graduated in 2014. Something that brought me back was the fact that this was my plan from the beginning. Like, I decided I wanted to go to school for health and phy ed, and I was like, I'm just gonna go back and teach at St. Francis. And then by luck it happened. The school, it's way different. I mean, it's a brand new school. My school did not look like this.
I graduated from St. Francis in the spring of 2016, so that'll be 5 years, and it'll be 6 years upcoming this spring. The reason I came back is I still live in the area, and then I grew up in this community. I've always lived in this community, so it's just been obviously a huge part of it's been a huge part of making me who I am to where I am now, and it's just kind of awesome to like pay that back in some, even if it's a little bit day by day. I mean, a lot of these teachers that are still here, I had them when I was here. So it's nice, like I said, to help them in little ways each day, even if it's not by much, to like kind of show my respects and pay them back for getting me to where I am and helping me become a better person.
Now let's pass it over to sports.
Hey Saints, I'm Cole Heckenleibel.
And I'm Cole Saporito.
And this is sports. In national sports news, the International Olympics Committee has introduced new guidelines for transgender athletes. These new guidelines will replace the old ones issued in 2015, which determined transgender athletes eligible by testosterone levels. The guidelines will allow sports to tailor the policies to fit the different events.
In local news, the Timberwolves have been fined $250,000 for a league violation that took place back in September. Players gathered in Miami for workouts and dinner which violate preseason rules. This rule prevents off-season practice for their players outside teams' home market.
The girls' basketball season is on its way, with them having tryouts last week. Reporters Easton and Joe got the scoop on their upcoming season.
When did girls basketball start?
Girls basketball started November 15th, so last Monday.
When is your guys' first game?
Our first game is December 2nd versus Chanhassen at home.
Okay. Have you guys done any preseason training?
Yes, throughout the summer, Monday through Thursday, we always had a camp ran by the coaches at the high school.
How has COVID being kind of over with for sports affected you guys?
Not having COVID is a big relief because now we don't have to wear masks, and during practice we're able to be together and not in separate groups.
Winter dance is underway. Reporters Easton and Joe went out to spoke to some of the dancers on the team about their season starting up.
How is winter dance different from fall dance?
In fall, it's run through community ed, and we have one team, but winter is more of a competitive team. We have 3 different levels, JV, varsity, and B squad, and we compete against different teams from different schools.
What is the leadership committee?
The leadership committee is the juniors and the seniors on the team, and basically we don't have captains, but we just have the leadership committee, and we all just chip in to help out our coaches and the rest of the team.
When is your first competition?
Our first competition is this Saturday at Farmington High School at 10 a.m.
After Thanksgiving, we should have more as our sports get underway.
I don't know about you, Cole, but I can't wait for that Thanksgiving feast.
Yeah, me too, and the long weekend.
Now back to Damien and Ian.
Before we go, we look back on last week's Hmong New Year celebration.
The Multicultural Student Union and some of our Hmong students provided great food and wore traditional clothing. Here is Kai Yu Her telling us more about this first-time event.
We are showcasing the things that are in our culture. We got story fabrics that tell our story. We got tools and things that we use to either celebrate, like special events or at funerals. So what a thing is a musical instrument. We got a broom to, of course, clean the house. We got baskets. This is a miniature version of what basket would actually look like. They're probably this big, and they're used for like carrying like plants home, food home in general. This is a gourd. It's like an actual plant that like dries up, and we carve the outside. It's like a spoon that we use to as a tool. It's kind of like a spoon, pretty much. We got the Hmong hats. These are females. The Hmong hat says a lot about clans and females in general, because the females are like the ones that will represent their clan, because there's many types of hats like this one. This one's like Hmong Americans. Yes, this is the princess one, because it's like in the 1990s when we came here, we started to innovate our hats. And then over here is the baby model for obviously the baby hats. Yes. And then we got also the baby outfit. We also got this, and then we got more sew that I'll also be taking out. We got little baskets that my mom sewed of little snow knitting, little hats, and like actual culture. So these are the Hmong Chinese. These are the patterns for the Hmong Chinese. And there's also more that I'll explain. Over here is, of course, the story of the Mekong River and the Street Good War. We got the sew is also the necklace for what females wear and guys wear. But this is another example of a baby carrier. What the mother, right here, this is the real one, what the mother would use to carry the baby, kind of like a backpack, but the baby would be on the back. This is a belt for the females. And then this is the array of food that we'll be presenting and giving out to people as samples for everyone to eat.
That's all we got for you this week.
Stay safe, Saints.